So we'll go to this Al Jazeera video. So we're going to talk about some of the global ramifications now from the Iran war. Sorry about that. There's been a few things happening in the terms of like the world, like world politics, where Israel is finally starting to receive some of the effects of pariah status. Like we've known it's a pariah for a while now. They've really taken, these countries have taken way too long to, you know, try and do anything like that is even like mildly materially affecting the conditions of Israel or whatever, as opposed to like performative stuff. So they're finally like, people are finally starting to diplomats from foreign countries are finally starting to try and distance themselves from Israel to some extent. We've seen Spain, like, right? I think Spain completely shut off all arms shipments or something, or it may be even a complete like a complete blocking of exports to Israel or something, if I remember correctly. I know South Korea recently put up a video. They're one of their staff members in the government put up a video, and the president or something said that they were going to look into it of Israel committing atrocities in Gaza, I think, or maybe it was the West Bank. And now it looks like the Italian MP is also starting to get on the is also starting to realize what time it is. And the time is fuck Israel o'clock. Italian, this is Meloni's Israel U-turn too late and proof of political cowardice, Italian PM. So this is by Al Jazeera. So we'll see what's going on with the Italian MP, sorry. We'll see what's going on with Italy and their relationship with Israel now.
Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is under growing political pressure over the country's ties to Israel. On Tuesday, the government suspended a military cooperation agreement between the two countries in response to Israeli attacks on Lebanon over the past month. But now opponents are accusing Meloni of failing to stand up to Israel over its genocidal war on Gaza. A recent speech in Parliament by MP Angelo Bonelli accusing the Prime Minister of political cowardice has gone viral. Well, Angelo Bonelli is an Italian member of Parliament. He is the co-spokesperson of the Europa Verde.
By the way, I completely agree. I completely agree with this guy. That is way too little, way too late. In fact, all of this, like I've said before, my policy position is like we should have embargoed, sanctioned, we should have like done all of that to Israel way long ago. Like even before October 7th, we should have been doing that shit. But like post October 7th, we should have like fucking invaded Israel and like forced them into peace. They are like, Israel is not going to be stopped like with anything other than like complete and total they are like without like complete and total capitulation at the end of a gun. Like you need people. It's like when the Nazis were expanding in Germany, and there was no way that you could capitulate to them or like try and stop them with peaceful negotiations or anything. The only thing that actually ended up stopping the Nazis was when external actors came in and started forcing the Nazis back from the territories that they were trying to acquire. So that's what I'm saying is we need militaries to go in and protect Lebanon. I would say let's put America's military out there or something, like to go in and start protecting Lebanon. Honestly, it wouldn't even have to get that far, because as soon as you, I think, start sanctioning and really sanctioning and making Israel like economically destitute, I think that they would be forced into peace through that manner. But we've let them go so far that we still need to protect all of those innocent people that they're trying to kill and all of that, territory that they're trying to seize illegally. So
the opposition party is the leader of the Italian Green and Left Alliance, and he's joining us live from Rome. Thank you very much indeed for being with us on Al Jazeera. So you say that Prime Minister Meloni hasn't been standing up to Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. Now she says Italy is not going to renew its defense agreement with Israel. Is that enough?
First of all, thank you for your invitation. Yes, yesterday, Giorgia Meloni, the president of the Italian government, suspended the military cooperation agreement with Israel. I repeat, suspended and not revoked. She revoked only after the Italian soldiers of the United Nations mission were attacked by the Israeli army. In the last 2 years, I asked the Prime Minister Meloni to revoke the military agreement with Israel. When the Israeli army bombed Gaza, destroyed schools and hospitals, and killed 70,000 women and children. You know what did she tell me about my request? That the military agreement for the Italian government was a diplomatic tool and that it means maintaining dialogue with Israel. How could a
Yeah, I mean, I think that let's be real though. This isn't about Israel. This is about America. They maintain relations with Israel, and other countries retain relations with Israel, not because Israel is some like great boon to their economy or something, or like to some extent they might get military technology or whatever from them that have been practiced on, you know, the Palestinian like slaves that they keep or whatever. They get to train all of their facial recognition software on all of the slaves that they keep in Gaza or what, you know, like, so to some extent maybe they get some sort of like benefit in terms of their own, like if they're trying to also like institute a police state to prevent uprisings or whatever, right? Like to some extent they might be benefiting from that, but the primary reason that they all are so scared to ever say anything or do anything of material consequence against Israel is specifically because they want to maintain relations with the United States. And they're just scared of the United States, and they're scared of a world without the United States at the forefront and at the center. Now that's starting to change because people are starting to be just as scared of a world with the United States as the like leader and at the forefront of geopolitics because of how destabilizing we are. And so I think that it is going to start changing in the future. But yeah, we need more countries doing actual material, like not symbolic, but like material, like things that affect Israel materially. And for sure, like sanctions and all that stuff. That needs to be number one, is sanction them. But yeah.
dialogue would be maintained with cooperating with weapons? And so yesterday, Meloni decided to suspend the agreement, but only after when the Italian soldiers were attacked by the Israeli army.
We saw previously in Italy, cities around Italy, huge demonstrations that were held when Israel was carrying out its war in Gaza. Can you just give us an idea of how deeply people in Italy feel about Israel, the attacks that it carries out in the Gulf region and also to Lebanon, and of course...
Sorry about that. If I remember correctly, the Italian people were out there in force trying to like stop shipments and stuff. If I think I remember them like blocking the ports and stuff. So the people, like most working class people in the world, are against Israel, and the Italians maybe even more so than like say Americans. But their government and the people in power, obviously, like I said before, were more scared of like going against America than anything else. So
in Gaza.
Yes. Oh, in Italy, but not only in Italy, in Europe, there is a big sentiment to support the people, Palestinian people, because we have in face of us a big violation of international law from Benjamin Netanyahu. All the Italian people, the very big majority said, stop the war, and we want to rebuild the international law that was destroyed from Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. And so we need to rebuild the international law because we have to be very clear. The war needed to Netanyahu to maintain their power and escape their criminal responsibilities in front of history, big responsibility to make a genocide in Gaza.
You said Prime Minister Meloni should resign.
I mean, I agree with that, but I'm not hopeful. I think the international law is going to be dead for a while until there's a major, like, world war type situation that eventually is forced, in the aftermath of that, in some sort of multipolar world where China is at the front or something. Maybe at that point there could be a rebuilding of international norms and laws, but yeah, right now, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
She's also one of the few leaders around the world who actually seems to have some sort of sway with Donald Trump. Isn't it better for Italy to actually be in the room with Donald Trump
Stupid
rather
argument.
than outside?
Of course, what happened? Giorgia Meloni, the president of the Italian government, support all the position of Donald Trump. For example, the question on Venezuela, Maduro was kidnapping from Trump. Also, when Trump said that tonight I will cancel the Iranian civility.
Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna go and paraphrase. The reason why it's stupid to like just be in this, or like try to capitulate to in order to maintain access to Donald Trump, is because that access gives you nothing. Like, it gives you nothing. The only thing that it gives you is a lack of direct confrontation. But that direct confrontation is going to come for you regardless, eventually. Like, Italy might not be at the front of the list in terms of like who Donald Trump wants to fuck with and who he wants to like eviscerate and like steal their territory or their land or their resources from or whatever. But they're on the list. We're going to get to them eventually. So the only thing that you get from like giving any sort of capitulation to fascist bullies like Donald Trump is just like a temporary reprieve of like the worst instincts. And also, if you just even barely turn around and like try to maintain, like, just save face even with your people by pretending like you're not a subservient dog to America, like military empire, then he will immediately turn on you again and put whatever whatever disciplinary measures, whether it's tariffs or what, like he'll just implement them immediately after that anyway. So like, you either have to be a complete and total vassal, which will stave off him like raping your country for a few years maybe, or you have some principle and say like, fuck you, I'm not going to do all this shit, and then you get at least some semblance of sovereignty, but you will have to suffer like maybe some tariffs or something. Those are like really the only two options when it comes to dealing with Trump in America right now.
And but what happened? 2 days ago, Trump attacked the Pope, even posting on his social media him like a Jesus Christ. Today, Trump said he was chosen by God to wage war. For me, we are faced with a psychiatric case. But what happened? What happened that Meloni knows that to stay too close to Trump is very, very negative for her and for her consensus. And so decided to say that the Trump's words were unacceptable. And so this is the reason. But I'm not very, very sure that this position is a broken relation with Trump. We have to see what happened in the next days.
Angela Bonelli, Italian Member of Parliament, we appreciate you being.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's some good info. We got to hear an actual real-life Italian accent and everything, talk about Italy's new relationship or new status quo with Israel that I guess involves some refusing to have revoking military cooperation agreements or something. So yeah, I mean, just more of that, please. At the very least, like, it's only going to accelerate the more countries feel that it's safe to criticize Israel. You know, solidarity is a hell of a drug. Once enough people are doing it, then all of a sudden everybody, you know, feels safe in advocating for human rights and stuff. So